Today we will paint a horse portrait. I'm painting in acrylic, but you're welcome to paint along in oil. For this painting we'll combine two photos into one. One photo for the background and another for the horse itself. I start by blocking in the sky using titanium white and cerulean blue. For the distant trees I add more cerulean to the sky mixture as well as a touch of sap green. That makes the trees look far away, and as they are far away, I only create a flat silhouette of the trees with no detail visible. For the foreground trees, I create a silhouette using neat sap green. Then inside that silhouette, I create a tree effect by tapping in different contrasting greens. These can be mixed by adding varying amounts of white and cadmium yellow to the sap green. Don't try to paint too much detail here. The trees are far into the distance. I block in the distant grass using the lightest tree color and gradually add more sap green and cadmium yellow as I move forward. This contrast creates a looking in effect which adds a ton of extra distance to the painting. Using white and raw umber, I create a grey. I use that to paint the fence and then highlight the fence using neat white. To add detail to the grass, I mix yellow ochre and white and stab the paint onto the canvas using the tip of a bristle brush. As I'm working acrylic, I use a hairdryer to dry the background before continuing. For the horse, I will use burnt sienna as the base color and then add white to lighten and raw umber to darken. As I'm right-handed, I start by painting the neck, then the face. This way I never have to work over wet paint. If you're left-handed, you can paint the face first. When painting, I'm not trying to create a hair effect. We are viewing the horse from too far away to see individual hairs on its hide. We will, however, strategically add hair details later on, which will make it look like the viewer can see individual hairs. At this stage, we're only interested in painting the basic shape of the horse. And to do that, I'm looking for variations in tonal value and color. If you look at my palette, you will notice that I've mixed 4 tonal values ranging from light through to dark. So as I look at the area I'm painting, I'm going to block in these different tonal values in their corresponding places. If I need an in-between tonal value, then I'll just use the brush to mix adjacent colors on the palette to get the desired value. I call these impromptu mixes. With the basic colors of the horse blocked in, I will look to see how these colors blend into each other. Do they meet in a sharp line? Do they fade together quickly? Or do they fade together slowly? I will then blend them in accordingly. And as I paint, you'll notice that I work in one small area at a time. I block the colors in, blend, and move on to the next area. Working like this serves 2 purposes. Firstly, it breaks the complex horse down into smaller little manageable chunks, so you never suffer from overwhelm. Secondly, it allows you to always work with wet paint, as the area is small enough to complete before the paint dries on you. The things that will affect the color and the tonal value in the area you're painting are things like the color of the horse, the shape of the body, as well as the direction of the sunlight. So keep these in mind as you paint. To paint a realistic eye, use an almost black color and fade it to burnt sienna. That makes it look round. Then add reflections to the eye using the sky color. This makes it look moist. After that, carefully paint the various quick shadings around the eye and eyelid using a fine liner. As you move away from this detailed work around the eye, switch back to a larger brush again. For the nose, add French ultramarine to the darkest hair color. This will give you an almost black color. Add this to the inside of the nose and fade lighter to the outside by adding white. This dark to light shading creates the impression that we can look inside the nose. Now continue to add the various shades of grey around the mouth area to complete the mouth and nose. Don't worry about adding the whiskers at this stage, but do ensure that you have a sharp frown line separating the top and bottom jaw. To paint the white spot on the horse's forehead, use a fine liner to indicate white hairs overlapping the brown hairs. Then use brown paint to indicate brown hairs overlapping the white. Lastly, add a few grey hairs to suggest detail inside the white area. For the ears, we will use the same trick as the nose by making the inside of the ear darker than the outside in order to create a looking-in effect. We can now start adding the mane. I use a bristle brush and a flicking motion to create a mass of hair. Paying close attention to the directions of the hair. With the mass established, I add a few individual hairs using the rigger brush and contrasting hair colors. For added detail, I also add some short hairs around the ears, as well as the whiskers around the mouth. Before moving on to the bridle, I dry the paint using the hairdryer. I block in the shape of the bridle using white paint with a touch of grey added to it. To make the bridle look 3D, I add a darker grey to one side of each strand of the rope to indicate its shadow side, and a highlight on the opposite side of pure white. With that, our horse painting is complete. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Please like the video and subscribe if you have. And also visit our website to follow the real-time, step-by-step paint-along version of this class. I'll see you next time.